Very welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am Nishu Goyal, and in today's video we will be discussing about content projection in Angular. We create components in Angular, but what if you want to use the same component for multiple functionality? How do we reuse that component? So to reuse a component, we use content projection. So let us start by defining what actually content projection is. So a content projection is a feature with the help of which we can have a component with a kind of visual wrapper, and the content inside the wrapper is decided by the developer beforehand. So suppose this is our container, which is the visual wrapper outside our content. So this visual wrapper behaves as the content projection for our content. Let us see how. So now we will create a component which has a common functionality so that we do not need to re-implement common functionalities. So before going on to create one, we need to understand that since it is a common component that can be used anywhere, we need to create this in new file inside the common directory in our Visual Studio Code. So now let's go to Visual Studio Code and try implementing this. Okay, so here in Visual Studio Code, let's go to create a new file which is component.ts. You can give any name to your component file. So inside app, let's create a file which is called say collabs.component.ts. So this is the name of our new component. Now that we have created it, we'll do the basic things. The first one is to import the component. Here it is. Yes, now that we have imported it, the first step is to use our component. So that is to create a class of component. You can give any name to your component class. Here, because we have taken the name Collabs, let's give it Collabs component here. And so because we want our class to behave as a component, we need to decorate it with the decorator @component. Here. Now we need to give this component decorator a name, which comes under the tag selector. Inside these single quotes, let's give it a name, say Collabs, a very simple name, comma, and then we decide the template of our component here. Inside the template, as of now, let's simply take a title. Inside the heading tags, let's say h2, and let's interpolate the title inside that like this. Now let's go to the class of our Collabs component, and here let's take our title with the help of input decorator, which is of the type string. We also want to do one more thing. We want to take a method, let's call it toggle content. That's what we want to do with the help of content projection. So we have taken this method which does nothing but it makes a variable visible. For that, let's take a variable, this dot visible. This is the statement. For that, we'll take this variable equals to exclamation this dot visible. Let us declare this variable here. Let's say visible. Let it be a boolean data type which is equal to true by default. So yeah, like this it goes. So inside toggle content method, we have taken the statement which says this dot visible equals to not this dot visible. So now that we are done with our class, a very important step left with us is to use this function toggle content. For that, let's go to our template, and inside that Let's take a div now, on the click of which I want that my method should run. So for that, I'll call my method here. Like this. Right. Closing our div tag, there is one more important thing to do. Let me just close my div tag before that. Yeah, so now the very important thing to do is, guys, remember that whenever we are using, so whenever we are using content projection in our program, there's one important statement to be used whenever you use it. So that is, inside tags you say ng-content and you close the tag. So this is the most important statement which you write so that your content projection works. That's the main agenda of our program. But there's one thing, because you want this ng-content projection to become visible. So for that, you'll put a structure directive here, a condition here which says ng-if it is equal to visible, then only display the content projection property, otherwise don't. So this is how you just made it visible. Yeah. Now you're done with your collapse.component.ts, because we created a class which says there's a title which makes this variable visible, which is of Boolean type and true by default, which also makes a method which says that this dot visible should not be equal to this dot visible. Also inside the template of our collapse.component.ts, we have created a div on the click of which our method is called. Also we have interpolated the title, and also for using content projection we have used ng-content tag so that we can use content projection inside the program. Also we have made a statement here which is a structure directive using ng-if that ng-content, which is the content projection, should become visible. Great. So now that we are done creating our collapse.component.ts, our next step, which is very important, is to register this component inside the module. So now let's go to app.module.ts and copy the name of our new made component inside declarations. So our component is called collapse component. So here we have put it, and just to import it, let us import it inside here. Yes, so this is the import statement. We have imported our new made component and we have registered it inside the module as well. Finally, we are done creating our collapse.component.ts, which is doing content projection here, and we have also declared it in the module. That is what we wanted to do. So that is how we are done creating a component which is reusable now with the help of content projection in Angular. To learn about more topics in Angular, refer to these two books by BPB Publications and enhance your knowledge. Also, do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you everyone.